let alone own homes.
Much later in international news, Professor Peter Mutharika sworn in as Malawi's president after a political comeback at the age of 85. Welcome to the broadcast. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. I'll be glad to have you join us there and get interactive with us. Let's start the bulletin from here.
Let's begin yet again with issues concerning illegal mining. A new environmental report is sending ripples of fear through Ghana's food supply chain. Research has confirmed that illegal mining, known as galamsey in the Konongo area, is poisoning the very food on which thousands of Ghanaians rely. Here's a report filed by Kwame Bafo Ajekum.
The farmlands that feed the Bomriso community and supply markets across Konongo. But a new report from the Environmental Protection Agency and Pure Earth has revealed a hidden danger in this soil, a direct consequence of the galamsey activities that surround these fields. The study found dangerous levels of mercury, lead and arsenic have seeped from mining sites into the water and soil. These toxic heavy metals are then absorbed by food crops, with tests showing alarmingly elevated levels in staples like cassava and plantain. This is not just an environmental issue, it is a direct health crisis. Consuming these contaminated foods poses significant risks, including damage to the nervous system and kidneys. For farmers like Kwabena Osei from Bomriso, the news is both terrifying and a threat to his livelihood.
Oh, I know Cremudia, me yamushemi.
I was frightened, but so far I haven't seen any impact on my farmland.
That fear has spread from the farms to the marketplace. Traders at the Konongo market now complain of a drop in sales. But in communities like Konongo or Domasi Zongo, where galamsey is a dominant activity, the reaction to the reports is one of deep skepticism. Many residents we spoke to question the findings outright.
The fish is always imported from some places to this place. And now that they are saying that the fish is contaminated with some of these chemicals, that is where my problem lies.
Despite the cyanide issue, our farmlands remained unaffected. We assure you of the safety and quality of our product.
The local farmers identified as the primary source of this pollution firmly deny the operations are to blame.
I am not familiar with the research. It might not be conducted here. They should let us know where the research was conducted. We are aware of cyanide's risks and take precautions and prevent it from contaminating water sources.
So where does this leave consumers and the community? The Municipal Chief Executive, Ebenezer Edu, acknowledges the situation is scary. He is calling for collaborative efforts to find solutions.
That these findings should not be left for the media to just discuss and leave it like that. So I will plead with those organizations to come to the Municipal Assembly. We are ready to collaborate with them. They should tell us where they pick their samples, so that we can determine whether they pick it from our farming communities or our mining communities. Illegal mining activities are one of the things I don't like, and we are fighting very hard to eradicate it.
But for farmers like Kwabena and traders in the market, the damage to their reputation is already done. The challenge now is moving from the findings to concrete solutions.
Well, from poisoning to restoration to the Ashanti region, as the Minerals Development Fund under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has begun the enforcement of land reclamation in parts of the region. William Evanzinkum reports that at Abompe in the Offin Shelter Belt, 40 acres of land is being reclaimed.
In June, when the Minerals Development Fund administrator embarked on field assessment in some mining areas of the Ashanti region, the shock was heavily felt.
Seriously?
Some foreign nationals with their local collaborators ripping apart vegetation and polluting river bodies were rounded up. Restoring the lost ecosystem was non-negotiable.
We are against illegal and irresponsible mining. We are all for the green mining, responsible mining, cooperative mining, where you responsibly do and you plant.
Here at Abompe, 40 out of 45 acres of degraded land have been reclaimed.
Just behind me, a few meters from where I am, is the Offin Shelter Belt. And we understand that already there has been some level of reclamation. So what is left is restoring the fertility of the land. And this is what we have been told, that the right application is also going to be done after the reclamation to restore the fertility of the land. And that will ensure a total restoration.
Beyond the covering of pits, the MDF says it will ensure miners add nutrient accumulators to regain the soil fertility.
This is the objective of the president and then the ministry, for that matter, MDF. So we have been enforcing this by, first of all, making sure that if you are on site, we normally pay attention to you by coming to you unexpectedly to observe what activity is going on.
To the locals, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, through the MDF, should continue to impress upon licensed small-scale miners to reclaim degraded lands.
We are happy
the government is enforcing this. We'll be able to grow our crops again. To this flock, they are only looking for an opportunity to graze again, the day the grass sprouts. William Evanzinkum, TV3 News, Abompe.
Meanwhile, Friar Dr. Joseph Kwame Blay, who is member of the Order of Friars Minor Conventual, says the church has failed in helping protect the environment. President Mahama on Friday met with civil society organizations to update them on his administration's fight against the illegal mining menace. Friar Dr. Joseph Kwame Blay, who spoke earlier on Weekend Central, said leadership is what is required to win the fight against illegal mining.
The Christian body has failed. When you read Laudato Si, Pope Francis said that Christians cannot be exempted from this devastation, destruction of the environment, because we have a God-given mandate to take care of the creation. So if Ghanaians have 70% Christians, then who are those who are destroying the environment? So we, the pastors, the evangelists, the teachers, and all those people, I think we could use our pupils to really educate our people. We are saying that it has even reached the point to spiritualize, to know that to sin against creation is to sin against God. So if somebody is destroying the water, there are lives there. It is equally murder. It is genocide. It's the ecocide. So you have offended God. You cannot go and collect such money and come and say, I'm sowing seed. But in most of the churches, we are interested in sow seed, thanksgiving. Where from that money to thanksgiving? So it's time that we have to moralize. We have to spiritualize and let people know that whatever they are doing, there is always a connection. The program, the outlines sound very, very good, but there are no timelines. So all these things that they have written, they're beautiful. In English, say it's like tohu wabohu. Everything is just scattered beautiful. But what time? In 3 months' time, what are we to expect? In 6 months' time, what are we to expect? Meanwhile, the government is almost left with 3 years. So are we just waiting for the 3 years, and then we know the last years we have to concentrate on the election campaign? So what are the timelines? One thing that I didn't hear is that, we are not only killed by the excavators. Excavators, fine, the government has done very well. But one thing that is killing the Ghanaians are the chemicals. the mercury importation. Meanwhile, there's the UN Minamata Convention, which Ghana is a signatory. There was nothing. So how are we complying the Minamata Convention that talks about the limitation of mercury? And in all the documents, in all the presentation by the government and the sector minister, there was no mention of mercury and then the cyanide importation. The goodwill is there, but then where is also the political will, the vim, to really crack the whip?
And now away from Galamsey to housing woes. Ghana's housing crisis is deepening whilst many struggle to rent. There are fears some may not be able to own homes before they die. In the first of two parts, George Quaining explores the rent challenges and the difficulties in assessing this necessity.
Well, if you check the internet for apartments to rent, you can tell that the cost of, rent are very exorbitant. Just look at this one, 4,500 cedis monthly for a chamber and hall. This is also going for 4,000 cedis a month for a chamber and hall. But what really is the reality on the ground? We want to see some of these houses with a rent agent.
Kwashi has seen it all when it comes to renting. Doing this for more than 30 years could only get better with time, but it's totally a different story. All his properties in the capital that seem relatively cheaper have all been rented out. From Nima to Kanda, Kokomlemle, Asalam Down, Adabraka, all the shelters have been occupied by lower to middle income earners. 30 plus years experience in renting has made him develop a soft spot for the youth who engage his services. He fears many may not be able to rent, not to talk of building their own houses.
Into properties, at times, who young up and coming guys are what person wale also up and down. Na me feel many because open neat one per your areas. Also say chairman was self-contained. It's about 2,000, 2,500, up to 3,000 per month.
Sometimes I feel pity for the youth in their pursuit of a decent accommodation. Rent charges in Osu for a decent chamber and hall is from 2,000 cedis to 2,500 and even 3,000 in a month. How much can you save after? It's only a miracle that can make the youth build their own homes.
They see there, hey, a miracle. Say you're up and coming. Between me and a cedar.
This 4-bedroom apartment located at Legon will be renting out at 4,000 cedis monthly when fully completed. Kwashi's bet is on high-income earners.
If he estate agent for no, na they call landlord because estate agent because Mr. George Oscar. To me catch if you say Mr. George Oscar resident na me commission here then and cost.
Lots of problems come from greedy agents. We complicate the matter by pursuing our own personal interest, compelling landlords to increase the rent for potential tenants.
You come for to be JBCA. I know him very well. Say that way no.
Nambio is an online platform that allows users to explore, share and compare cost of living data worldwide. And if you go onto Nambio, Accra is the 5th most expensive city in Africa in terms of rent. And Accra's rent index of 12.0 also places it 230 in the world.
It's sad. It is really, really sad. If you're a young man, you're a young lady, you're a young family, you're starting up in life, the cost of rent is horrendous. When you go around Accra, you see many places for rent. But those are high-class, expensive houses that are available. The kind of houses that are for lower middle class, bottom of the pyramid, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, not available. Even not enough of the face me, I face you, as we call it, houses. So what does that mean? It means that the landlords are in control. They can charge higher rent. After all, if you don't pay, somebody else will pay.
In Ghana, the law prohibits landlords from demanding more than 6 months rent in advance for long-term tenancies, as stipulated in the Rent Act 1963, Act 220. While landlords are not legally allowed to demand more, tenants can voluntarily offer larger sums, though the law's enforcement is currently lacking. Many landlords continue to violate the provision, and with potential tenants fearing they might lose out, they make huge payments spanning over 2 years to secure their preferred house. It could be a relief for many, but financial expert Joe Jackson is convinced that 6 months cannot be legislated.
Read my lips. Nothing will change unless there are more houses available. Nothing will change. This is issue of the market. All you will do if you legislate 6 months is that you will drive the other now to become a black market. The agent will tell you, the government says 6 months, so we'll pay. But if you really want the house, bring the money quietly and come and give it to the landlord. He won't take anything less than 2 years. He will write a receipt for you for 6 months, but he will take 2 years from you. Nothing would have changed.
George Queenan, TV3 News, Accra.
We'll bring you the part 2 of Ghana's housing crisis tomorrow on News360, so look out for that. Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has welcomed the new deal aimed at ending the conflict in Gaza. Speaking on the key points, the foreign minister noted Ghana has since 1998 stuck by the two-state solution to ending the Israel-Palestinian conflict, a move which has now been recognized by some Western countries.
And on the Palestinian issue, he first and foremost reminded the international community that Ghana has always been on the right side of history, that we recognize the state of Palestine as far back as 1988. We have always been for the two-state solution, that it is totally abominable and detestable, irreprehensible to say that one state should not exist and that you are going to wipe away a whole nation, a whole group of people, human beings, and that the UN's position, the two-state solution, which Ghana as far back as 1988, and we have been consistent, and we are always proud to remind everybody that in this country, we have given full diplomatic accreditation to the state of Israel and to the state of Palestine. And we are very proud of that. And so to see that this year, countries like France, Canada, the UK, Australia, Belgium, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, Portugal, San Marino, and the others are all now recognizing Palestine and confirming, as President Macron did in that special session on Palestine, that they now fully associate with the two-state solution. We should feel very proud.
From that, the Sofo Line underpass, designed to provide a safe crossing for pedestrians, has become a hotspot for criminal activity due to its inadequate lighting system, discouraging many from using the facility. Now, residents and commuters have raised alarms over the persistent darkness in the tunnel, which has turned it into a hiding place for criminals. However, weeks after TV3 highlighted the challenge, the Urban Rails Department is taking steps to fix the situation. Ibrahim Abubakar has more in this report.
Reports of mugging, attacks and harassment have become common in the tunnel, forcing many to risk crossing the busy Sofo Line Ebuakwa Road instead of using the designated underpass. The tunnel, according to users, is a no-go area after dusk due to its darkness.
You crossing the road, you might be hit by a car. So I think here is far better than the road. And mostly, if you pass here alone, unfortunately, you can meet robbers around and they will take your phone or something important to you. Yes, so that's why many people wouldn't like to pass here, because the place is dark.
The situation gained widespread attention after a report by TV3 highlighted the security crisis, putting pressure on responsible agencies to act. In a direct response, the Urban Roads Department, together with the consultant for the Sofo Line Interchange project, moved to assess the situation. During the assessment, the Ashanti Regional Director of Urban Roads, Engineer Naim Idris, acknowledged the problem and the agency to fix it.
The lightning you saw there, they are all not working because the cables have been taken off. These our boys have stolen all the cables. So what we are also discussing as much as possible is to connect them back using solar. So once it's solar, I believe it will take a longer time. But when you fix the light back, the other issue will be with the maintenance. As you went through, you see there's a lot of debris there. The walls are all dirty, and there are security posts that have been vacated. So we will make sure that we partner with the assembly. We can have permanent security guards. These things were carefully designed so that we can ensure maximum safety of the pedestrian. Unfortunately, they are not passing through. We will make sure that we work on them, and passage will continue again.
While a formal communication on the exact timeline for repairs is pending, the presence of the technical team signals a commitment to resolving the issue that has plagued the area for months. For now, pedestrians remain optimistic, hoping that authorities' visit will quickly translate into well-lit, secure passage and restore the underpass to its original purpose of safety and convenience. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Away from Ibrahim's report, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosejare, has blamed recent fire outbreaks and the resulting mass destruction on the current state of market centers. She called for improved accessibility at markets to enable the Ghana National Fire Service to respond effectively and reduce destruction during fire outbreaks.
Touring the scene of a fire at the Budget Deco warehouse near the Graphic Press in Adabraka, Accra, the minister said that but for accessibility, almost all the nearby warehouses would have also been razed.
It's easy for a fire tender to come here. That is how come it didn't spread. When we are in marketplaces or in stores where fire tenders can come, because as for accidents, they will happen. But the most important thing is that we make it easier for fire tenders to also enter the place and solve it. I'm sure if this had happened at another place, the casualties would have been very dire. So I can say that if you have shops in places where cars can enter, fire tenders can enter, it's always easy. But
on Thursday evening, October 2, the Budget Deco warehouse containing curtains, floor carpets, flowers, upholstery, woolen carpets and furniture was destroyed. Parts of the affected warehouse also caved in due to the intense heat from the prolonged fire. But the fire service managed to control the blaze. In total, 6 additional fire appliances, a tentable ladder, a Ghana National Fire Service water tanker, and 2 private water tankers were deployed to battle the fire. An adjacent warehouse containing rice, a hotel, and the DTRT textile and clothing warehouse were saved from the destruction thanks to the swift intervention of firefighters. The Greater Accra Regional Commander, ACFO2 Rashid Nisawu, and other senior officers provided operational leadership and support to the firefighting teams. The Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosejare, while appreciating the fire service, also called for proper demarcation of marketplaces.
And now to the silent struggles of caregivers. 90% of caregivers of children with developmental disabilities provide unpaid care work, with caregivers of cerebral palsy having a disproportionate burden of care. Now, these caregivers have little or no time for themselves, thus affecting their productivity. In this report, my colleague Christopher Moko caught up with a mother with one of 5 children suffering from cerebral palsy and filed this report.
Unpaid care work for children with developmental deficiencies, such as direct care and housework, often falls on women and girls. This labor is essential but often invisible, lacking financial and social support, and contributes to economic, social, and psychological costs for caregivers. As a result, many face a significant burden that limits their opportunities for paid employment or education. I visited 40-year-old teacher and mother of 5, Ajara Idrisu, and her husband, Adam Nashiru, whose daily activities have been affected due to the extra care they provide for their 9-year-old son, Abdul, who has cerebral palsy.
December, God willing, he will be 9 years. It's not easy at all because I'm a teacher and a mother of 5, including him. He is the 3rd child. And I still have another 2. So making 5. They are 5 in number. I'm a teacher too. So I always lock him to go out. Break time, I'll come and check on him, feed him, go back. It's not easy.
She tells me they are unable to enroll him in school.
And we sent him to the regular school and it wasn't easy because he is disturbing the other children. So finally we have to bring him home and then be managing him in the house. So if the government can at least do something about that, we'll be very happy.
Ajara is unable to take on other jobs because of the demanding care she provides at home. Research conducted by Songtaba, a non-governmental organization in northern Ghana, has revealed that 1/3 of families with disabilities face denial when trying to enroll their children in school.
Parents of children with developmental disabilities spend at least 6 hours with their children, and they spend more time, especially for those of them who are not able to be in school. And that tells us that if a parent has a child with developmental disability and she needs to have a tax fulfilled, he needs to be having the same tax as anybody who has other children. It then tells us that she's spending more time on the child and less time to do productive work. And as you can see, a lot of them end up not being able to do any productive work at all. And for those of them who are even in productive work, their productivity is very less.
She's advocating for more facilities for children with special needs.
We must implement inclusive education. Then we must ensure that schools have facilities to make sure that when children with developmental disabilities are brought to school, they are able to stay and learn under a conducive environment. We must also see how the existing facilities that we have now are inclusive, are accessible, so that parents are comfortable to leave their children in school. And all of that boils down to investing and getting committed in ensuring that the inclusive policy works.
The World Bank identified unpaid care work as a significant contributor to time poverty, which limits women's access to education, employment, rest, and civic participation. Sustainable Development Goal 5 focuses on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. Target 5.4 specifically calls for the recognition and valuation of unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services infrastructure, social protection policies, and the promotion of shared responsibility within the household.
The inadequate education infrastructure for persons with special needs has become a major concern for people within the Northern Enclave. The only special development institution in the Northern region, which is the Yumba Special School, even that does not take children lower than 10 years. This has added extra burden to parents. For them, government will have to expand infrastructure to other parts of the northern region to make it accessible for their children in such conditions. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Tamale.
And now the Director of Research and Corporate Affairs at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, Dr. Eric Obute, says stakeholder engagements are underway to determine the major tariffs on electricity, which will take effect come January 2026. This follows the Commission's announcement of a 1.14% increase in electricity tariffs effective October 1. Here's a report by my colleague Noura Mohammed.
Your local barbering and hairdressing salons, cold stores and tailoring shops may just be increasing their prices soon. These businesses rely heavily on electricity to operate and will be affected by the 1.14% increment in electricity tariffs, which took effect since the 1st of October. The adjustment, made under the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's quarterly tariff review mechanism, is to ensure that tariffs reflect changes in key economic indicators. The PURC cited the recent cedi depreciation against the dollar, which resulted in an increase in the cost of fuel, especially natural gas used in the power generation. Dr. Eric Obute is Director of Research and Corporate Affairs at the PURC.
One of the factors which we consider is the inflation. The other factor which we consider is the exchange rate. Now, the exchange rate that we used the last time in the third quarter was 10 cedi 70 pesos to the dollar. As we speak, the exchange rate that we are using is 12 cedi 37 pesos. So there's a shortfall in that already. So even though we have seen a decline in the inflation rate, we have seen also a slight depreciation of the currency, whereby we use 10 cedi 70 pesos as against this current tariff. Now we are using 12 cedi 37 pesos. Even though we had an exchange rate, the appreciation of the cedi, it was offset by the debt which was outstanding that we had to push through. Had it not been for the debts that were there in the previous tariff regimes, obviously we would have seen a reprieve.
For Lifeline customers and smaller businesses who struggle to pay their electricity costs, the recent increase will be an extra cost they will have to grapple with.
It will, because if they increase tariff, I believe it will affect us as well, because we depend on electricity to work. So if it is temporary, I wouldn't be passing it on. But if it is for a long term, I will definitely be affected. So I might be tempted to increase my prices.
It's going to make very bad impact. I just wanted to urge our leaders to know that we rely on our handwork and we don't do anything apart from this work. And the light that they anyways that they increase, they need to at least do consider.
It will affect us though. Like right now we are not having light just because of the operation that they are doing, but we don't have any problem though. But I think it will affect us because of the cold storm, because we use electricity for them.
A major review of utility tariffs will take place from January 2026. The PURC has meanwhile commenced nationwide stakeholder engagements as part of the multi-year tariff order. According to the Director of Research and Corporate Affairs at PURC, Dr. Eric Obute, service providers have submitted proposals for substantial tariff increases.
So when it gets to the major tariff, obviously the tariff will also be a different game altogether. But this is a minor tariff that we are looking at. So the major tariff, this is the time we have received proposals from the service providers, and we are now interrogating those proposals, engaging the public, engaging all stakeholders to make inputs before a final determination of the major tariff itself will come out. That will take effect in January 2026.
Business groups like the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GNCCI, and the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, have warned that higher electricity costs will threaten government's 24-hour economic policy. They caution that such increases will cripple businesses who are already struggling, cause job losses, and make Ghanaian goods uncompetitive. Now, Lifeline consumers have begun to brace themselves for the ripple effect this tariff increment will have on their businesses and livelihoods. Noura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
And now let's talk about cleaner markets in Accra. The Gamanche Ni Taki Teko Chru II has called for the re-engineering and creation of a master plan for the city's market squares to find sustainable and result-oriented solutions to Accra's sanitation challenges. Joseph Armstrong Gold reports that the King's request was met with a swift response from the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, who called for the allocation of land for the construction of a 24-hour modern market in the capital.
The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim Deggamanche Ni Taki Tekuchlu, the Accra Metropolitan Chief Executive, the MC for Clote Kole and other city authorities took part in the cleanup exercise. The first point of call was the Mokola market. Shops were ordered to close down until 12 p.m., leaving traders and buyers stranded. Choke gutters were desilted and piled up refuse were cleared. Some people sat unconcerned while sanitation task force members from the AMA did the cleaning. Many others went about their activities with little regard for the directive. However, A few were spotted desilting choke gutters in the area. They want authorities to ensure that sanitation becomes a daily affair, with bins made available at marketplaces.
This is not the first time the country has embarked on a national sanitation campaign. In fact, several parts attempts have struggled to gain traction, often fizzling out due to lack of proper coordination, lack of public participation, and also lack of political will. What new can be done to ensure this time around this is sustained?
The Gamanche, Nintaki Tekochulu, is calling for a clear-cut master plan.
The Minister and I and the Mayor have discussed a possible master plan for the city of Accra. The business district of Accra must be replanned and redesigned so that we can have a market that will have services to sustain trade and commerce in such a way that there wouldn't be an overflow of market women and folks on the streets of Accra.
The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs responded to his call.
The President has a vision of constructing markets in almost everywhere in the country. And all the 261 MMDCs have been taxed to acquire land for the construction of 24-hour economic market. But you know, Greater Accra, their challenge has been land.
And in the Upper East region, residents of Navrongo have raised alarm over the worsening sanitation conditions in the area, calling for the enforcement of sanitation laws. My colleague Castro Segala has more in this report.
First declared in November 2014 by the government of Ghana and relaunched this year by President John Dramani Mahama, the flagship National Sanitation Day is a cleanup exercise for all Ghanaians aimed at reducing unsanitary conditions across the country. As early as 6 a.m., residents of Navrongo eagerly gathered at the premises of the Treasury Block to take part in the all-important national exercise. Led by the Kasna Nankana Municipal Chief Executive, Faustina Abulu, the residents made up of traders, assembly members, heads of departments, among others, were split into groups to clean lorry stations, marketplaces, and the silt gutters. Although the exercise was highly publicized with clear directives, some traders defied orders and opened their shops for business. However, the shops were quickly closed by a joint security task force that was on standby.
Are you not aware of this exercise? You don't know. You don't know. Don't say you don't know.
Despite the challenges that nearly made the exercise ineffective, the municipal chief executive said the turnout was encouraging compared to previous editions. She urged residents to embrace the exercise to ensure a cleaner and healthier town.
So far as the president is bringing this initiative on board, they have to comply with the law. The directives are from above. It's not as we are implementing them here. So they should try and exercise patience and let it comply with the law so that cleanliness, it will bring a healthy environment. We ourselves, our municipality, will be happy.
The municipal police commander, DSP Lawrence Adumbire, raised concerns over the poor sanitary conditions, especially in the markets, and called for the reactivation and enforcement of sanitation laws to effectively deal with the situation.
Our sanitation laws have to be revisited. You cannot sit at a place selling and then refuse are dumped in front of you. That's why the sanitation laws stress that if refuse are dumped few meters at your habitation, you are responsible for nuisance and one can be prosecuted. It's not about somebody throwing.
Meanwhile, residents have commended the government for the initiative and urged that it be sustained to help combat poor sanitation.
It's a very beautiful engagement. It is nice to see that we are mobilized to come out and then sweep and then keep our environment clean. A safer environment for all of us to live in. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So, in fact, I will admonish that all residents should come out and join us in the next date so that we make our community a safer place for us all.
For TV3 News, Castro Sinyala, Navrongo, Upper East Region.
You're watching News 360. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're back with more stories after this break. Don't go away.
teaching methodologies, technology integration, and student engagement.
The head of HR at the Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, CENDLOS, Najee Safi, observed education is not about writing examinations and earning certificates, but networking.
It's a dynamic journey that demands flexibility, innovation, and resilience. Learners require not only knowledge, but also the skills, values, and confidence to navigate the ever-changing global workforce.
The special guest of honor, Olivia Sewa Opare, highlighted that events like these help students to make informed decisions about their future.
Discover the wide range of opportunities before you, from universities and colleges to technical and vocational institutions, as well as our senior high school students. And then scholarship programs.
Let's bring you some sports news after this break.
The sun come out to play. It's bright like you.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Lishen. Now, BBNE Gold Stars maintained their perfect start to the 2024-25 Ghana Premier League season with a narrow 1-0 victory over Swedru All Blacks at the Swedru Sports Stadium on Saturday afternoon. A solitary strike from forward Michael Nkwa just 2 minutes into the second half was enough to hand the defending champions all 3 points in a closely contested matchday 4 encounter. Here are reactions from the two coaches after the game.
It's very great, it's very great, it's very great. The guys obeyed instructions. Tactically, they are very, very disciplined, and our tactical and strategy work perfection. So we are very grateful for the boys. They did very, very well. So we are very happy for this win.
I think what I have to do now, or what I have to say is, I'm sending very thankful for my players that the unbelievable performance now. what we did is we dominate the game from every moment. Just the first minutes in the second half, maybe I don't know what happened that we consider one goal, but even the second half, we dominate the game from the first moment until the last moment, and this is the football. What I can say.
Let's move on to Europe, where Mohamed Kudus scored his first league goal, adding to yet another assist for Tottenham as they clinched a 2-1 victory over Leeds United. The Ghanaian, who was included in Otuado's 24-man squad for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, was happy to finally find the net for Spurs.
Feels really good, something I've been working on for the past months, but feels really great to score my first goal, open doors for more to come. Sometimes it's not just winning the first pass, it's the reaction of the second ball, and then when I went inside, I just thought short corner is something I've been practicing, so I'm glad that it went in. I mean, that was the closest chair I could find around there, so yeah.
Now under pressure, Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim marked his 50th game in charge with a crucial 2-0 victory over Sunderland at Old Trafford, thanks to goals from Mason Mount and Benjamin Šeško. Declan Rice scored his first goal of the season before Bukayo Saka added a second as Arsenal comfortably beat West Ham in manager Mikel Arteta's 300th game in charge. Moses Caicedo's goal proved decisive, as well as Estevao, as Chelsea sealed to a 2-1 victory over Liverpool.
Lays it off. Aronson, good save, surely in. Okafor for Leeds. Rolled that in nicely to Mount, and Manchester United take the lead, and why not? Šeško makes it 2.
That's it for the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Ishen.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by
the segment from George. A drum lollipop. It's Sakam.
Then Sakam.
Nah, then Sakuyo. Almost useless garbage.
Ghana's viral social media series Vibes is hitting the big screen. Directed by AMVCA award winner Big Gun Nicholas Nate, Vibes the movie premieres on Saturday, October 4, 2025 at Silverbird Cinemas, Accra Mall and West Hills Mall. The original series, known for its mix of rap, comedy, and relatable stories about Ghanaian youth, gained over 10 million views online. Now returns as a full-length musical comedy drama, capturing the same humor, music, and urban energy that made it a nationwide hit.
Lil Boy, Obolotwi, you are fired! Tell me what I do.
More than just a film, Vibes the movie celebrates a generation's creativity and the journey from social media stardom to cinematic storytelling.
Since this job we go make them blow.
Me and no be thief, manu ne hame, me boss win his secretary, anu ne hame.
Sell out. Get out.
Nicki Minaj has reportedly cut ties with the Breakfast Club, reflecting ongoing tensions with the influential radio show. While she's been interviewed there in the past, repeated criticism from the host has strained their relationship. This move highlights how artists like Minaj are taking control of their narratives, often bypassing traditional media in favor of direct communication with fans. The situation underscores the shifting power dynamics in hip-hop, where the lines between critique, conflict, and clout are increasingly blurred. Yeah, my connection.
Well, that's your entertainment. Let's now bring you some news outside the Ghanaian border.
Professor Peter Mutharika has been sworn in as Malawi's president after a political comeback at the age of 85 to win last month's election. He won a September 16 election with 56% of the vote, compared with 33% of incumbent Lazarus Chakwera to return to office. Thousands gathered at Kamuzu Stadium in the commercial capital Blantyre for Mutharika's inauguration. He previously served as president of the Southern African nation from 2014 to 2020. He lost office in 2020 after a 2019 election he won, which was nullified by a court because of widespread irregularities, and was ordered to be rerun the following year. Mutharika takes over at a time of economic crisis in Malawi. Soaring inflation, fuel and food shortages led to deep discontent with the leadership of Chakwera.
That's how we draw the curtains on tonight's edition of News 360. But there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. I am Noble Crosby Annan.
And I'm Ayisha Yakuba. Enjoy the rest of our programs and have a good evening.
Okay, oh. All right, next one. Nothing, I'll just mind my business. Looks like you. Yeah, you look like someone who will mind your business.
No, her
by
eyes
the way,
are-
you are not pointing to you. Okay,
Her eyes
let's
are
see.
giving her
All
out.
right, let's point. 3, 2, 1.